So looks like we're not getting those GameCube games according to the play testing that everybody was talking about. And that leads me to the discussion I want to have today. GameCube was one of the eras I loved a lot. And GameCube games are the ones that everyone is asking for Nintendo Switch Online. And they've also remade some GameCube games already on the Switch, like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and some folks might not even know about, like Baten Kaitos 1 and 2. So today I want to talk about a game that I would love to see back in some shape or form on the next Nintendo Switch. One of my favorite GameCube games. And what's that game? Custom Robo. What's good, everybody? First and foremost, how are y'all doing? I appreciate y'all for coming through watching the videos. Appreciate all the love I've been getting on the videos. We are so close to YouTube partner. All I need for you to do is always just engage, watch the video, like, comment, let me know how you feel about the video, whether you liked it or not. And I'm gonna keep shooting out these videos. But today I want to talk about Custom Robo and why I want to see this on the Switch. Maybe even talk about what I want to see in the next games and give you a little bit of history on what Custom Robo is. And mostly the GameCube games, that's the only one we got in America. And I want to know if y'all ever played this game or if you want to see it too. So let's get right into it. Custom Robo is an arena fighting game that makes use of a mix and match gear loadout system. Similar to games like Robo Trick or Front Mission, what you do in the game is you got a bunch of parts, whether it's your pods, your legs, your arm, the type of robot you're using, and you get into a 3D arena against other people. And you pretty much, you got HP like 1,000. You remember how Yu-Gi-Oh had life points? Pretty much your robot has life points, and you fight to the death. You fight until your robo is down. Most of the games had its own story modes, and believe it or not, Custom Robo on the GameCube was not the first game. There was actually 3 other games that came out in Japan. Custom Robo on the N64, Custom Robo V2 on the N64, and Custom Robo GX on the Game Boy Advance. But America got to experience Custom Robo for the first time on the GameCube. And in that game, it was a big focus on being a commander and using your miniature robos in the virtual arena called the Coliseum. And most of the story in that game took place in the campaign mode called A New Journey, which was kind of funny. I liked it. It was a typical anime type story. But the main objective of the game was to engage in battle with other robots, collect multiple parts, as I was telling you about earlier, to make your robot stronger. And in the story, like I said, the plot really had a story where the main character is the hero, who somehow your father disappeared. Hello, Ash Ketchum. And before its departure, your father gave you a watch and telling you, hey, keep that thing safe. And it leaps to the present, the hero suddenly releases a letter saying his father has passed and blah, blah, blah. He wants you to be this and that. And you set out to learn how to be a robot commander. And you know nothing about that. So you meet some people called the Steel Hearts. They teach you some things and you learn about a big conspiracy and a bunch of evil stuff that's going on in the city that's doomed, the anime story. But the main meat and potatoes of this game is the battling. And that's what I want to see in the future. And like I said earlier, those fights take place in the Coliseum, which are arenas that are designed after certain things. And like in this game, I like what it was is wherever you were, somebody had their own custom arena. Like I remember one time you were in a ramen shop and the arena looked like a ramen shop. Think about the DS game, like you're in the schoolyard and the arena like the schoolyard. There are a bunch of different Coliseums with different environments that help you either take cover. Some had environmental hazards like ice or lava or like moving conveyor belts, like making the battle a little bit different than the last battle. Before the battle even begins, like I said earlier, you got to pick your parts. And you got 5 types. You got the chases or the robot, you got the gun that's on your right hand, you got the bomb that's on your left hand, you got the pod that's on your back hand, and you got the legs, the attachments to your legs that are in your feet. The thing about the models is they all have different type of traits. Like you might have like the Shining Fighter or the default superhero skin that's well balanced, or you have a model that has triple jumps. You have a model that can actually fly around. You have a model that disappears. The customization in Custom Robo was real dope to me. And even in the DS version, they kept that same thing there with different type of robots, different type of parts, different type of guns, different type of interactions. And I feel like Custom Robo in today's time will be a great time. While this game is a niche title, I feel like Custom Robo would do well in today's time and serve a purpose of variety in the multiplayer genre. Games like Gundam Wing already exist. Games like Armored Core already exist, but Nintendo had a nice little game where it was about action, cool robots and shooting, and I really want to see that come back in today's time. But how would Custom Robo play today? What would I want to see in Custom Robo for the future? Honestly and truly, there wouldn't be much for me that I would want changed in the Custom Robo series. The gameplay was always good, and they kept on evolving that over time, with the last one that we got being on the DS. But I think a big focus on the story of, we gotta have a single player game. We can't just make a game that only has multiplayer, because that sometimes it takes away from it. But it's Nintendo. Nintendo usually drops a story mode on top of the multiplayer, but with that story mode, definitely bring back those anime feels. It doesn't have to be something super deep, something lighthearted, maybe something serious like the OG stories, but also you could take some liberty and make it a deep or maybe even dark story. But I think those 2000s, 2010s anime story feelings were dope for this series. But also the main thing is the actual robos. I would love to see more different type of robots be made in the new game. Of course, you have the classic, you have the OG robots that everyone loves, but let's get that creativity going, because we haven't seen this game in so long. Let's get a bunch of different robots with different styles and advantages and disadvantages, on top of the different type of guns you could possibly have, while also bringing back some of the fan favorites. I would love to see them actually add maybe even more parts. Like we got the pod, we got the bomb, we got the leg, we got the gun. But what if they do something like a secondary weapon pod where you can actually switch to a different weapon, or something that helps your Custom Robo evolve a different way mid-battle, or maybe like an armor break system where when you're in a critical state, your Custom Robo sheds its armor and gets more power. Like evolving the combat in a way that doesn't take away from what we loved about it. I think that would be dope. The stages were also something that were pretty good in the Custom Robo series and very memorable. And I love what they did in the DS version of making new stages. I love what they did in the Custom Robo on Gamecube. I think more stages with more different environments that showcase the world and also just creativity would be dope. But the main thing, let's go in on that multiplayer mode. Because this was a game that did have multiplayer on the DS when it came to online, but it didn't in the original Gamecube version. And while it was a fun couch co-op game, which they absolutely need to bring back because Custom Robo is great for couch co-op, I definitely want to see them put some emphasis on the multiplayer system. A bunch of different modes, maybe even like a team deathmatch. Like what if they made some bigger arenas for team fights? 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. Evolve the stages and how big some of them can be in certain modes, but also have a dope online mode for people to play with their friends and play with homies. I think Custom Robo would excel in today's time being a multiplayer game, because it didn't have that chance back in the day and a lot of people didn't know about it. And that would really add to Nintendo's multiplayer catalog. Again, don't want to get too ambitious, but if I was to get ambitious, making a Custom Robo with very big arenas akin to maybe a smaller Call of Duty arena or a Megaton Musashi arena for more people to be on the map together could be cool. But at the same time, Custom Robo was always fun because it was essentially 1v1 or 2v2. And I think that gameplay will keep it tight, keep it fun, and keep it simple yet easy to implement. So I think leaving it there would be actually pretty good. Honestly and truly, I just wouldn't mind seeing Custom Robo again, even if they make an HD remaster or bring some of the games from Japan and remake them to a new way. Either way, I think Custom Robo is one of those games I would love to see on the Switch, on Nintendo Switch 2, and a game that a lot of people, if you haven't had a chance, go back and play it. It was a great game and a great series. It's a little niche, but it was one of my best memories on the GameCube because it was so different at the time. So that's all for you, boy. Let me know how you feel about that. If you play Custom Robo, would you want to see it again now? And what would you want in the game that would make you buy it? If you never heard of Custom Robo, let me know what you think about it now. Let me know what GameCube games you would want to see, or any other games you would want to see. And maybe I'll do a video about it, how I want to see it implemented in the future. I think that would be fun. So make sure you leave those comments of games you want to see at the bottom. Y'all have a good one. Bye bye.